sky. Rely on yourself in a way. Believe.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you all had a good night's rest. And it's the weekend. It is Friday. Before we go any further, we're gonna have you guys watch a little clip. And then we're gonna come back and have some questions about one, the clip, but two, the premise of the clip. Because I think people have a very difficult time separating themselves from a following and from groups and from identifying with masses. And I think that's part of our problem as humans. We don't know how to separate ourselves from groups. I don't know what it is about. Maybe we want to belong. I don't know. But we'll break some stuff down and see where the conversation leads us. Okay, so just listen to this, about 3 minutes long, and we'll have a conversation about it. Here we go.
Supposed to be some of the most verified images of giants. There's a part of history that just is not being told. Hieroglyphics in Egypt showing massive human-like entities.
There's a giant footprint in granite in South Africa.
It's about as tall as you are, 6 foot tall, a footprint.
Look at this. There's the big toe and the other 4 toes down to the small toe, down to the heel. What's fascinating about this is this piece sticking out here. It's like when you put your foot in mud and you pull it out, your toes will lift up a little mud.
That's got to be the foot of a 20 to 40 foot creature.
There was another kind of human on this planet which wouldn't go along with Darwinian evolution.
There was a petrified finger that was found. Tell us about that. Was it biological?
Oh, very much so. So they've scanned it. They can see the tendons and the bones, and it's very much organic finger bone with the fingernail as well. And if you would have attached that to a human and done the analysis, it would have been over 20 foot tall. Maybe we're talking Anunnaki or the offspring, the Nephilim, here on Earth. Maybe these Bible stories have more to tell us than we're giving them credit for.
In the Hebrew Bible, the Nephilim were the sons of gods. They were also known as giants and considered to be the fallen ones. Michael Mott's research suggests that they might have retreated underground.
Of the tribe that said that they were guarding the entrance to the inner earth. They said it would take maybe a couple of weeks to finally get down far enough where they would meet the inhabitants, and they were just these gigantic people, anywhere between 10 and 11 and a half feet tall. They talked about how when they got far enough down, one of the things they saw was basically molten rock. And that's exactly what modern science tells us you should find underneath the earth. And how would a primitive people know that?
The evidence left behind for the giants on this planet is staggering.
I found bones and body parts in the mountains that are 50 times, 100 times, 500 times the size of humans. So the ancient stories of giants on Earth have been passed on over and over again. There's definitely an agenda to hide the origins of humanity, to hide the true history of our species, the true history of the planet, of what happened here. Our entire history has been rewritten and hidden from us for so long.
Giants have been found.
So there's over 1,500 newspaper articles from the early 1900s, late 1800s of non-stop discoveries of giant bones.
There are over 100 large human-looking mysterious footprints preserved in stone for thousands of years all over the world.
What are these giants and what?
Okay. Now, people might be wondering what possessed me to talk about this topic. Well, I'll tell you. There's something that very subtly got slipped in there, and I think people will hear it, acknowledge it, and run with it, but they won't say that they did. The thing that spurred me to speak about this was the second to last guy in the video. And you've probably heard multiple people say what I'm about to say. That is, history was rewritten, and they're trying to hide our true origin. Okay? Can anyone tell me what the word hidden means, or to hide? Because I think people have confused the word hidden with another word, and that's laziness. Hidden, from the word hide, concealed, put out of view, secret, not known, mysterious. So let me ask this. What about our origins is hidden? It's kind of like when people say that there were books removed from the Bible. You cannot remove something that was never included. Again, we've talked about this. The conglomeration of books that make up the Bible was put together in sequence. None of the books that people say are left out are missing. They're right there for anyone to go read. None of the books that they say should be in the Bible are out of reach. Just say that you don't want to have to go look for them. You want people to put them in a location where it's easy for you to find. Say that. The book of Enoch, they said, was left out of the Bible, but you can go read it, right? You can go read the book of Enoch? Perfect. And if you can read the book of Enoch for yourself, whether or not it was included in the 66 book conglomeration matters not, because it's not removed from you. You're just too lazy to go find the book and read for yourself. Say that. The exact same thing with people saying that history was rewritten and this and that. Oh, our true origins. What true origins? Okay, let me ask this. Did the Bible, the 66 books, mention anything about giants? Whether or not it went into detail, did the Bible ever mention giants? Good. So it mentioned giants. Okay, good. How is that hidden? How is it hidden? Especially when it mentions in the Bible that all of this took place before Noah. And the eventual outcome of them being here was the flood. How is anything hidden? Now, look, if you don't like the way history went, say that too. If you just don't agree with it, say that too. Don't say it wasn't mentioned, and don't say it's hidden. The same thing that people like to talk about the Council of Nicaea and how the Catholics changed this and the Catholics changed. You do realize that you can go and find the original manuscripts. You can go back and read it for yourself. You can go learn Hebrew. You can go learn Greek. You know, they actually make concordances. It's weird, but they make these little books that can go along with whichever version of the Bible you choose to read. And they have a lot of the pieces that we found of older manuscripts that you can go back and actually, I don't know, what's that word? Research? You know what we like to do? We love to take the group concept and have everybody else tell us stuff. Oh, the Catholic Church changed it. Then don't listen to the Catholic Church. Go find the book yourself and go read. Don't listen and rely on a priest. Go find it yourself. Let no man teach you. We don't like that. We don't like it. Oh, they changed the Sabbath day. Can the Catholic Church dictate for you when you observe the Sabbath? Hear me out. Hear me out. The excuses that man makes is in an effort to not do what God said. That's all this is. Well, the church changed. The church didn't change nothing. If you know the truth, then practice it. Why are you waiting for a whole group to do something before you do it? Why do you need an entire group to go do something when you have the truth? Go do it. They changed this and they changed that. Then you don't follow. I don't understand the stupidity of some people. And this is what it is. I don't care how much you try to sugarcoat it. It's stupidity. It's groupthink. If you consider Saturday the seventh day or you consider Sunday the seventh day, it doesn't matter if a group changes it. If you know for yourself and in your heart, Saturday is it, observe Saturday. Why try and make a stink about something when it should be something you individually do? Now, this Nephilim thing. Say you knew everything there was to know about giants. They're underground right now, just waiting. What does that have to do with your walk with God? What does the existence or non-existence of giants have to do with your walk? How, Joyce? How? How? Explain to me how it matters if I get one day wrong. How? I just want to know. Hear me out. One does it on Saturday, one does it on Sunday. It's all 6 days in between. It says the seventh day, right? Okay. So please tell me, did it say Sunday? Did it say Saturday? Or did it just say the seventh day? Suppose I decide to do my week starting on Monday. Where would that put my seventh day? Suppose my week starts on a Tuesday. Where would that put my seventh day? Is the observance of the Sabbath what I don't do 7 days away? Or is it on a specific day, Sunday or Saturday? If you can show me, it says in the original manuscript, Sunday, or the original manuscript, Saturday, we'll have a conversation. If it says the seventh day, that could be any day, 7 days apart. So please Tell me how getting it wrong between Saturday and Sunday could cost me my salvation. I would love to know that. If the seventh day I do everything it says not to do, I'm breaking it, whether it's on a Saturday or a Sunday. If I pick a seventh day and I do everything it tells me to do, I am fully obeying it. Is it the obedience of the things done in the day, or is it getting the day right? I just need to know. You see, this is the problem. We want to put so much emphasis on menial, small, insignificant things. And on that day, many of us will do the exact opposite of what it said not to do. You turn on your lights on the Sabbath, you broke it. If you even turned on your lights, you broke it. You do realize that, right? The amount of laws you have to observe on that day. If you break one, you're done. So again, where does it say Saturday or Sunday? And what difference does Nephilim's being around today or not around today have anything to do with your walk? What? You see, we wait for groups to change concepts. We say the Catholic Church changed something when you have the book yourself. Okay, hear me out. The Nephilim history is hidden when it's mentioned in the book that you don't want to read. It tells you what happened to them in the book when you're waiting on other people to tell you, like historians. They find footprints to tell you that the Bible already said that they existed, but it's hidden. Somehow they're under the ground near molten lava. And that has what to do with your walk again? So you would put more emphasis on learning about Nephilim and man's origin, and you pay zero attention to the new man. The new man don't matter. We need to keep focusing on the old man, the old what happened back in the day, how many giants existed. Is it still in my bloodline? Do I still possess the blood of giants in me? Am I part of this lineage? Am I part of that lineage? You ignore the most important thing because you go for group think. Group think. When we say the word that this connection of words, the church, inadvertently, what you're trying to tell your mind is that these have to have the same mindset as me for me to believe the truth. We have to believe the same exact thing for the truth to matter. Even if no one else on earth believed the truth, does that make the truth less true and followable? And who has the onus to follow the truth? The group or you? Does the group have a mandate over your thinking, or do you? So tell me then, who has the lordship in your world? Who has the lordship? What it really comes down to, this is why pastors have such a hard sway on people. This is why people like TD Jakes and the rest of those clowns have such a heavy hand on people, because people are lazy. They want to be told what to believe, and they need to be told it in a very specific way that tugs at heartstrings, tugs at their emotions, and cause them to believe what the person is saying, not the truth, just what the person is saying. If that person can deliver it in a way that they can believe, regardless of what the truth is, they'll take it. Meanwhile, the entire book is right there for anyone to read. And he left an entire phone line open to him who read and wrote the book. But you want to go to a man in fine linen, possibly a robe and a hat on his head, to tell you what the book says, and the book doesn't say anything that he says. But you would never know because you didn't go to the book. Instead, you're looking for everything outside the book to verify the book you don't read. You see how stupid that is? You see how dumb you look? You're going to an idiot to solidify something that you, the idiot, don't read. What are you trying to verify? What are you verifying? It's like me trying to say, this is my eye closed. Hey, preacher, do I have a knife in my hand? The preacher holds this and says, yeah, that's a knife. Meanwhile, his eyes are closed just like you. It's a knife. And you say, oh, man, that's what thank you. I'm glad it's a knife. And then you try to go cut stuff with this. That's how dumb Christianity has become today. Stupid people following a stupid man and having never read the right book. But you want to know about your origins. And so you reach out for all sorts of ridiculous concepts. We came from giants. We came from gods. We are celestial beings. And then you have idiots that will tell you, well, it was man written. Of course, man wrote the book with their hands. Now, listen, if you don't want to believe that God inspired people, don't believe that. Don't. Feel free not to believe it. Then don't complain when man gets it wrong, because man's only going based on what man believes, right? He didn't inspire it. God did not inspire it. If God did not inspire the word and cause man to write what he wanted, it doesn't matter what's in the book. And it doesn't matter what's left out, because it's all man-made. But if you do believe that the word is inspired, then you would get off your behind and read it. You won't wait for someone else to tell you what's in there. You, because you care, would read. And you know what it would tell you in there? Everything that idiots are arguing about today. All the worldly fools are arguing about what's in the book. Half of them, maybe even more, never read the book. Or they find one or two words in the book to argue over. They'll remember something that a preacher said forever ago, and they'll go find that particular verse and harp on that in the same manner that the preacher did. You don't read it for what it says. You read it for what you think the person told you it said. Your origin, if you really wanted to know, is in that book. In fact, it pretty much starts out telling you your history. By chapter 4, you know everything there is to know about your origin. Like that. But you would much rather hear some scientist talk to you about bones. You'd much rather hear some scientist talk to you about footprints, because it's, you know what? It's entertaining. And you don't have to do any legwork. Oh, it must be true. Look what they found. They found a whole footprint. You know what that means? That means they have found our new origin. Stupid. It's in the book. They mention all of that stuff in the book. How did ancient people know about molten? Because God told them. You think science is the beginning and ending of all things educated? This entire world right now is one man leading another man about what one man said about another man. Meanwhile, everything that you could possibly want to know is out there. It's there for you to see, it's there for you to observe, it is there for you to learn. If you wanted to make your entire life goal knowledge, it's out there for you to get. And that means learning everything. The right side, the wrong side, all of it, it's there for you to learn. Nothing is hidden from you. The beauty about God's creation when he made the mind is this. I can take two things and by reason alone link it. Not lies, reason. People don't want to execute anything of the created mind that they have. They would much rather go to someone else to tell them what to believe because it's easy. Go to a scientist and have him explain to you the human body when it tells you as simple as it can in the book. You want to know about procreation? It's right there. You want to know how children are? It's right there. Everything that science thinks it's come up with, it didn't come up with. It's listed in the one book that everyone thinks man touched. It's obvious man touched the book. It's obvious that man penned the book. What is also not so obvious to people apparently is where they get the concept. And how do you get a concept that spans hundreds upon hundreds of years between people that never spoke to each other and they all said the same thing? Completely different locations, completely different language, and they all said the same thing. Science can't explain that part though. And most people will never get to that understanding because they never read the book. They look to other people to tell them. They want to get a movie series to tell them. They want to get a sitcom to tell them. They want to get a preaching series. They want to get visual aids. They need a play. They need an entertaining sermon. So my question is, what does knowing about Nephilim do for your walk? What does knowing about giants existing do for your walk? What do you know? What does knowing about aliens do for your walk? What does climate change do for your walk? Now, I'm not saying you can't care about those things, but they have taken way more priority than your walk. I would dare say that that's your walk as opposed to what it should be. I got to know where I came from. You do know where you came from. Am I the original people? No. Adam and Eve were. Nothing about you is original. The original man and woman already came and died. You're an offspring. You're part of lineage now. And then you'll be part of history. There's no special status for you. None of that applies. Get over yourself. You are not as important as you think you are. You're not. But people want to believe that they are, because what they want to believe about themselves is that they're valuable apart from God. Men and women want to believe that they are important apart from God. Therefore, that's the reason God must want them, is because they're important. The cog cannot work. This piece of equipment cannot work without me. In fact, I would dare say that the entire thing hinges on me. All of it comes from not reading. And I don't just mean skimming and going through it because you read it from front to back. Good for you. Okay, now you read it front to back. And you did nothing but just read it like it was a manual. But not even implementing anything in the manual, just reading it for the sake of reading it. Every year I read my Bible. Okay, so you've talked to God about what you read? No, but I read it. Did it say in there that you're supposed to talk to him? I don't know. I just read the book. That's how many of us read the book. And in a lot of cases, we don't even speak. Here's a crazy part. The way this works is like this, and the way it's supposed to work is like this. You read it, something doesn't make sense. Thank you, James. You don't take it to a preacher. You take it to the author. And I've said this analogy before. Say you receive a book in the mail, and in this package that you got, there was a little note that says, if you have any questions about anything in this book, call me. Here is my phone number. Any questions at all, because I wrote this book. If you have any questions about this book, call me up. And I have all the time in the world to talk to you. I will break down every facet of what I meant in that book. Just call me. So you get the book out, break open the packaging, open it up, first page, and you're reading, and none of it makes sense. But you still go to the second page, and none of it makes sense. And you go to the third and the fourth, and you finish the book, and you sit back and you're like, I read that book. Okay. I've read it. Then someone says, so what did the book say? I said some stuff about some things, and I don't know what, but I read it. So you didn't want to understand it, and you say, well, what I need to understand, I understand already, so I'm not worried about that. So there are things in there you didn't understand? Yeah. I mean, they sent me a note that said, if I had questions, I can call it. But I mean, really, what I need to understand, I already understood. So it's all good. That's how people read the book. That's how people read this Bible now. They read it and they're like, oh, I don't understand that. I'll move on. And God's in the corner saying, whoa, hey, you don't want to know what I was saying there? I mean, I said it. If you don't understand it, I can clarify it for you. Next one. Read and read and read. Next one. That's today's Christian. No relation to the author. They don't care about him. They don't want to know what he has to say about his word. They don't even want to know how he inspired anybody to write. Many believers don't even ask how. They don't even do that. In all of their questioning, they all question outcome. They never question the author. They go based on something someone tells them that they think it says, and that's where they stay. Meanwhile, in the book itself, it says to test everything against me. In the book itself, it tells you to ask him. It tells you that everyone needs to meet with him. It tells you this. But we go to pastors, we go to scientists, we go to this person and that person, looking for answers that they don't have. They do not have the answers. They don't. You want to know what it says in the book? Do you want to know what it says in the book? And this is a great place to wrap this all up with a nice big bow on top. So here we go. Because I really think, and again, once I show you this, you can feel free to go read it yourself and talk to the man himself about it. And the Father himself who sent me has testified of me. And this is in John 5, by the way, 37. You have neither heard my voice at any time nor seen his form. But you do not have his word abiding in you, because whom he sent, him you do not believe. You search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And these are they which testify of me. But you are not willing to come to me, that you may have life. If that isn't the epitome of the modern church, I don't know what is. You want words. You want affirmations. You want DNA. You want history. You want Nephilim. You want bloodline. You want tribe. You want all of that, which are all pointing to a relationship with God through Christ, but you don't want him. You ain't willing to go to him. You're going to everybody else. Anybody wearing a robe, colorful garments, wristbands, headbands. They can say all the Hebrew words right. You go to them. Yeshua, all that stupid crap you want to speak when you have no relationship to the person you're talking about. None. You talk about the Ruach, but you don't even know what the Holy Spirit is. You want to correct people about the pronunciation of Jesus' name when you don't even talk to the man the name's attached to. You want to talk about lineage when you're not even in the blood. You want to talk about translations when you don't even read the book itself. Windbags, pompous windbags. That's all you are, a pompous, disgusting windbag. Empty. But you could recite the book. And you think by reciting it, you've arrived somehow. You pick a certain day of the week. That's your Sabbath, but you don't even know who the Sabbath's about. Not a clue. You abstain from all kinds of things, but you never interact with the Spirit. You can do all that, but you don't even know who you're talking about. You can tell people how to preach phonetically. Don't know who you're talking about. You could sweat on stage all you want. You could wipe it off, have somebody else wipe it off. Wear the nicest suits. Heck, you can separate people by sex in the church, male on one side, female on the other side. You can talk like this all you want, call yourself an apostle. It doesn't matter, bro. You ain't leading people to read it with the Holy Spirit at their side. You are leading them to listen to you. And in so doing, avoiding actual relationship with God himself. You are avoiding the very first thing of securing your salvation, walking it out yourself. You're avoiding them. You're telling them not to. You're telling them you have it. That's modern day preachers, priests, pastors. They have become the end of the line and not the arrow. Pastors and preachers are supposed to be the biggest directional sign around. And there should be no equivocation who they're pointing to, but not the case today. Today, they are standing at the end of their own road and they have a bunch of signs pointing to them. And they'll tell you, you can only know God if you listen to what I say. They don't tell you to go and measure everything with the aid and the direction of the Spirit. No. Listen to them. if I have anything that he has solidified in my mind and heart about this journey we call life, is that no one is getting out of it alive, and that you cannot and will not navigate this correctly without him. It is not possible. It is very much completely and utterly impossible to do this walk if all you rely on is your pastor, preacher, or priest. And if your pastor, preacher, or priest is telling you that they have the answers, they're lying to you. They are lying to you. They are manipulating you to get what they want, which is attention. They didn't get it when they were younger. Now they found a way to get mass amounts of people to listen to them. Everyone in this world today has access to the exact same God, using the exact same methods as the next one. And it is the same for everyone. You cannot be before the throne if you are not covered in the blood. And you cannot be covered in the blood if you don't die to self. It is really that simple. You don't need to take my word for it. You don't need to take my word for it. You know why? Because it's in here. Translations and all, it's in here. You can take up any of them, missing scriptures and all the stuff you want to say is absent. And you can say, God, what am I missing? I need to hear from you directly. Bypass anything that might be hindering me from a direct relationship with you. Clarify anything. It is right there for anyone to get to. You don't need to dress a certain way in order to get there. You don't have to have a gown, a priestly robe, a turban on your head. And who dictates all of that? God does once you have the relationship. He does. He creates a brand new person in your behavior, your actions, all of it. There's no work involved for you because you're dead, remember? But of course, if you refuse to die to self, you're going to call it a struggle. You're going to call it a struggle. Many don't even search the scripture thinking they can find life. They don't even do that. And when they do, they think that's where they're going to find life. When he tells you specifically that I am the word made flesh, he told you that. And you can't come to the Father unless you go to him. He told you that too. But somehow preachers and priests have taken up that role. I keep telling people that I pray that I never, ever, ever become a pit stop. I don't even want to become a rest stop for anyone's spiritual journey. I want to remain a sign. That is all. I just want to remain a sign. And the only thing I want to point you to is that relationship with the author so you never get distracted by man. I don't want you to be thinking of man's direction. You have to be thinking God's direction. And if you're not talking to him, you're not going to get that direction. It is simple. I don't care about Nephilim. I don't care if there are giants underneath my feet right now, running around in molten lava. I don't care. You know when and if caring will matter? Is if one day he says, now you can start caring. If he changes his tongue all of a sudden and says, you know what, Nephilim are the reason you're saved. But I also know that will never happen because the word never says that. In fact, it says the opposite, and you can go read this yourself, that in the last days, people will look to signs and wonders. And even that won't change their minds. If tomorrow they say giants are roaming the earth and they show you video of it, the only thing that'll do is solidify in your mind that there are giants roaming around. It won't take you to God. Heck, you just found out that aliens exist. No one's going to God. No, they want to know more about the aliens, though. They want to learn about reptile people. Yeah, that's the stuff that's going to really save me right there. Wow. Reptiles. A man came back from the dead. Oh, I want to talk to him. Find out what? Oh, what it was like to be dead. Everything is about hype. Nothing's about the relationship. Because they don't want it. Let's just be honest. You don't want that. Man's not looking for God to control them. Man's looking to God to have control over other people. Because that's easier. I don't have to change anything if I'm looking to God to help me control other people. If I'm using God as a controlling device, I don't need to change. Actually, it'd be better if I don't change, because if I don't change, then I will know for sure that I have it for myself and not for other people. Anything you have questions about, ask God. Not your preacher, not your pastor, not your priest, not your deacon, not your elder, not your rabbi. God. God. If he's not the end of the road, you're on the wrong road. If he's not the end of your road, you're on the wrong road. I have 0 topics next week. Not because I don't want any, because I have not been given any yet. But for as long as I'm doing this, my aim is to direct you to look to God and speak to him for your growth, not to me. I may say something. I may say something that resonates somehow, some way. I may say it in a way that may have opened up another question or a possible answer. Always take it back to the throne. The best way for you to solidify your relationship permanently with God is to always be before him. I can't give you another way. I can't issue you another decree. I cannot bring you another gospel. The only way for you to do this is with him. I can't emphasize that enough. I really cannot emphasize that enough. If the things I've said has caused you to interact more with God, then I think I have done what he's asked me to do. Even if I never do another show, even if I never have another podcast, if this show were to end today, if Straight Talk were to come to a close today, my only hope is that what people understand is that I don't want you looking to me for any answers, that you go and take everything to God. There's only one avenue to get there, and that's through his son. And there's only one way to be before his throne, is that to be dead to self. Period. I want to exit this world as a sign, not a milepost marker for people to stop and stare. I want to remain a sign. Just an arrow. Nothing else, an arrow. If you guys have spoken to him about anything to do with the thing scrolling at the bottom, do what he told you. In either direction. It's also another thing I want you to make sure you talk to him about, not out of feeling, obligation, or anything like that. Talk to him. But my greatest joy, I guess it would be, is that I helped foster in you a need to be in front of him for everything. If that's all that happened, awesome. For those of you who are planning to go to the event, and registrations are still open, obviously, we have a ton of time left. And there are scores of hotels around here. Just type in Wenatchee, Wenatchee, Washington State. And just that, and you will see all the hotels possible. There are tons of them. And I mean tons. There are scores. You don't want to worry about not finding a spot. There are tons. Wenatchee. If you want to start booking, tons of space is still open. Only 13 have registered, so tons of time still. But I'm letting you know there's tons of space too. So in either case, oh, it's pretty out here, Connie. It's so pretty out here. It is beautiful out here. Like, I mean, gorgeous out here. Water is nice. I don't even like the water, but I know the water is nice. My dog likes it. My kids like it. constant breeze going through here. It's really, really nice. So Savage Patriot will be on today. Yeah, keep trying to misspell it. You're not helping, okay? You are not helping at all. 2%. You're not helping people. I'm trying to get them the right spelling, and you over here being silly. Savage Patriots will be on today. We dumped quite a few videos up there on Too Strong 2. Make sure you go check them out. Very informative. And we'll talk later. After that. Really appreciate all you guys do. Love you, mean it. You guys rock. Hopefully I'll get to meet most of you next year. Y'all have a grand rest of the day. Wisdom calls to you from the streets. Please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight the dreams, for if dreams die, rely on yourself and no